the garden of inner silence. In a world where the constant noise of worries, responsibilities, and unfulfilled expectations seems to steal our sleep and serenity, there exists an ancient path toward mental peace that we all carry within. This Zen tale invites us to accompany Kenji, a 53-year-old man who, like many of us, discovered that material success does not guarantee tranquility of the soul. Through 8 transformative encounters with a Zen master in the mountains, Kenji will learn that true peace is not found by escaping life, but by learning to live fully in each present moment. His experiences remind us that it is never too late to begin the journey toward the emotional balance and inner serenity we so deeply long for. This story is dedicated to those who, in the maturity of life, seek to reconnect with that deep calm the modern world so often makes us forget. Chapter 1: The Exhausted Executive. Kenji closed his laptop with a sigh that carried 53 years of accumulated fatigue. From the window of his office on the 23rd floor, he watched the city stretch out like a glowing anthill. He had achieved everything society defined as success: a brilliant career, financial stability, professional recognition. Yet his mind was a battlefield where thoughts attacked each other relentlessly. Work worries blended with family tensions, pending decisions with past regrets. Each night, when he finally lay down, his brain kept racing, reviewing mental lists, anticipating problems, replaying conversations. Mental peace had become an almost mythical concept, something others might experience but that seemed forever out of his reach. His doctor had warned him about his stress levels, about how anxiety was beginning to affect his physical health. "You need to find ways to relax," the doctor had said with genuine concern. But how does one relax when the mind simply doesn't know how to stop? One afternoon, while absent-mindedly flipping through a magazine in his doctor's waiting room, Kenji came across an article about meditation and stress reduction techniques. It mentioned a small Zen monastery in the mountains, where an elderly master taught the art of inner serenity to those seeking to regain emotional balance lost in the chaos of modern life. Something in those words resonated deeply within him. Perhaps it was time to seek answers outside his usual world, to explore different paths toward the elusive mental tranquility he so desperately needed. Chapter 2: The Road to the Mountain. The trip to the mountains took 3 hours from the city. With every kilometer that distanced him from the urban noise, Kenji felt as though he were entering a different world. Buildings gave way to forests, the sound of traffic to the song of birds. Yet his mind remained trapped in the same thought cycle: pending projects, missed meetings, unanswered calls. "I should be working," he thought as he drove along the winding mountain road. The guilt of wasting time gnawed at him. He had canceled 2 important meetings to make this trip, something he had never done in his career. Part of him questioned whether this was just a waste of time, a romantic idea with no real benefit to his emotional well-being. The monastery appeared after a sharp curve, a traditional wooden structure darkened by time, surrounded by meticulously kept gardens. The atmosphere radiated a palpable stillness that sharply contrasted the restlessness within him. A young monk greeted him with a serene smile and led him down a stone path to a small pavilion where Master Tanaka awaited. The elderly man, at least 80 years old, sat facing a Zen garden, watching the patterns formed by falling leaves on the raked sand. He did not look up immediately as Kenji approached. "Mental peace does not come by rushing toward it," the master finally said, as if reading his anxious visitor's thoughts. "Sit, breathe. The first step toward inner serenity is allowing yourself to be present, here and now." Kenji sat down, uncomfortable with the silence. He was used to agendas, clear objectives, action plans. This unstructured space deeply unsettled him. Chapter 3: The Lesson of Water. "Why have you come?" asked Master Tanaka during their second meeting. As they walked beside a crystal-clear stream descending from the mountain, Kenji had mentally prepared an elaborate answer about stress reduction techniques and emotional well-being. But under the calm gaze of the old man, his rehearsed words vanished. "I no longer know how to stop my mind," he finally confessed. "I work all day, come home exhausted, yet my thoughts never stop. I worry about things that already happened and about things that might never happen. I've lost the ability to simply be at peace." The master nodded and pointed toward the stream. "Observe the water. Do you see it struggling against the rocks it encounters?" Kenji watched how the water flowed around the stones, forming small whirlpools yet always continuing forward, naturally adapting to each obstacle. "The water doesn't resist, doesn't fight, doesn't worry about the rocks ahead," continued the master. "It flows with what is, moment by moment. That is the essence of mental peace. Not the absence of obstacles, but the ability to flow with them without losing your true nature." "But I have real responsibilities, real problems to solve," objected Kenji, feeling the master was oversimplifying. "Of course, and water, too, has its destiny to reach the ocean, but it does not get there by fretting over each rock. It acts when it must act, flows when it must flow, and never forgets its essence. That is the secret of tranquility, to respond to life without losing your center." Kenji remained for a long while watching the stream, allowing the words to sink in beyond his analytical mind. Chapter 4: The Practice of Presence. During his third visit, Master Tanaka led Kenji to the garden and handed him a wooden rake. "Today, you will practice the art of being present," said the old man. "Rake the sand in concentric patterns around each stone. Nothing else exists except your breathing, the movement of your hands, and this moment." Kenji took the rake, feeling the absurdity of the task. He was a successful businessman, used to making decisions that affected hundreds of employees. And now he was raking sand? Still, he had come here seeking answers, so he decided to try. The first few minutes were mental torture. His brain protested, generating a cascade of thoughts about everything he should be doing. The meditation techniques he had tried before never worked because his mind always found something urgent to think about. But the master had been clear. Simply observe those thoughts without clinging to them, like clouds passing across the sky. Gradually, something began to shift. The repetitive motion of the rake, the soft sound of the sand, the attention needed to create uniform patterns, all began anchoring his awareness in the present moment. For the first time in years, he experienced entire minutes without the constant bombardment of worries. "This is the emotional balance the ancient texts speak of," said the master, watching him work. "It is not a permanent state of happiness. It is the ability to bring your mind back to the present, again and again, as many times as needed. Mental peace is not a destination. It's a daily practice." When Kenji finished, he looked at the freshly raked garden. The patterns were imperfect, but there was something deeply satisfying about them. For the first time in a long while, he felt genuinely calm. Chapter 5: The Inner Storm. Kenji's fourth visit to the monastery coincided with a violent storm. Rain pounded on the wooden roofs while thunder rolled through the mountains. He found Master Tanaka seated in his usual spot, completely serene despite the chaos outside. "Master, I have a problem," Kenji confessed as he sat down, still dripping wet. "At home, everything is the same. My wife complains I work too much, my children barely talk to me, and at the office the pressure never stops. I come here and find moments of calm, but when I return, it's as if none of this matters. The anxiety comes back full force." The master listened silently, letting Kenji empty everything he carried inside. When he was done, the old man pointed toward the storm. "Do you see how the storm shakes the trees, yet the mountains remain unmoved? Emotions are like the weather. They come and go, sometimes violent, sometimes gentle. The question is not how to avoid life's storms, but how to become the mountain amidst them. But emotions aren't just external weather, protested Kenji. They're real. Stress is real. Problems are real. Of course they are, replied the master patiently. But your suffering comes from identifying completely with them. When you say, I am stressed, you become the stress. When you say, I am anxious, you become the anxiety. True inner serenity comes from learning to observe these inner storms without being swept away by them. And how do you do that? Kenji asked, genuinely confused. When stress arises, observe it without judgment. Say to yourself, there is stress. Not, I am stressed, but there is stress. That small distance creates space for mental peace in the midst of the storm. You don't eliminate difficult emotions. You learn not to drown in them. Kenji closed his eyes, listening to the rain. For the first time, he tried to observe his anxiety as something separate from himself, as an experience he was having, but not something that defined him. Chapter 6. The Art of Letting Go. During his 5th visit, Kenji arrived agitated. It had been a particularly difficult week. A major project had failed, an important client had canceled their contract, and tensions at home had reached a breaking point. I've been practicing what you taught me, he said to the master with frustration. I try to stay present, to observe my thoughts, to create space between myself and my emotions. But there are things I simply can't let go of. Mistakes I made, opportunities one lost, words I shouldn't have said. How can one find peace of mind when the past keeps haunting you? Master Tanaka rose and led Kenji toward a nearby tree, heavy with autumn leaves. He gently shook a branch, watching the leaves drift slowly to the ground. This tree does not cling to its leaves when autumn comes, he said. It does not mourn each leaf that falls, nor does it try to hold on to them. It lets them go because it is natural to do so, because it is time. And in letting go, it prepares for the new growth that will come. But I am not a tree, Kenji replied bitterly. My mistakes have consequences. The people I've hurt won't simply forget because I let go of my guilt. You're right, the master acknowledged. But tell me, how does holding on to the past help you? Does constant guilt and regret change what happened? Does it improve the present? Kenji fell silent. He knew the answer. True mental peace doesn't come from having a perfect past, the master continued. It comes from accepting what was, learning from it, making amends where possible, and then allowing it to flow. The river does not stop at the stones it has already passed. It keeps moving. You too must learn to flow. And how does one let go? Kenji asked, this time with genuine willingness to learn. Each time a thought of the past traps you, acknowledge it. This is a thought about the past. Then, gently bring your attention back to the present moment. Again and again with patience, as if teaching a child. Emotional well-being is not an instant achievement. It is a lifelong practice. Kenji nodded slowly, watching the last few leaves fall. For the first time, he felt a hint of freedom from the weight he had been carrying for years. Chapter 7. The Mirror of Truth. During his 6th visit, Kenji noticed a subtle but profound change within himself. The mindfulness exercises and his conversations with the master had begun to transform his relationship with his own thoughts. Yet something still unsettled him. Master, he began, as they shared tea in the garden. I've learned to observe my thoughts, to stop clinging so tightly to the past, and I've even found moments of genuine mental peace. But something troubles me. I feel like I'm being selfish. My family needs me present. My company depends on me. And here I am, pursuing my own inner serenity. Isn't that a kind of escapism? Master Tanaka smiled, as if he had been waiting for that question. Tell me, Kenji, if you're on a plane that loses altitude, who do you place the oxygen mask on first? Your child or yourself? The instructions say to put it on yourself first, Kenji replied, recalling his frequent flights. And do you know why? Because if you pass out from lack of oxygen, you can't help anyone else. Emotional balance is not selfishness. It is responsibility. You can only give to others from your own wholeness, not from your emptiness. But I feel like I've spent years pursuing my own success, my own goals, Kenji said. Maybe that self-centeredness is what made me lose connection with my family in the first place. There's a difference, explained the master, between selfishness and healthy self-love. Selfishness seeks to take, to accumulate, to fill an internal void with external things. Healthy self-love recognizes that your emotional well-being is the foundation from which you can truly be present for others. When you are at peace with yourself, that peace radiates to those around you. The master paused, looking at the reflection of the sky on the still surface of a nearby pond. Mental tranquility turns you into a clear mirror, he said softly. You can reflect others truthfully, without distorting everything through your own inner turmoil. That is the greatest gift you can offer your family, your genuine presence, not your anxious one. Kenji sat quietly, letting those words echo within. For the first time, he began to understand that seeking his own peace was not abandoning his responsibilities. It was fulfilling them in their deepest form. Chapter 8. The Return to the Inner Garden. On his 7th visit, Kenji arrived with news. He had made important decisions. He had delegated more responsibilities at work, had begun difficult but honest conversations with his family, and had started a daily meditation practice at home. The changes haven't been easy, he told the master as they walked along the familiar path. There was resistance at work, painful discussions at home, but something feels different. Even in the middle of difficulties, there are moments when I find that mental peace we spoke about, as if I had an inner anchor keeping me steady. Master Tanaka nodded with approval. You've discovered your inner garden, that place of inner serenity that was always there. You simply had to learn how to find your way back to it. But I still have hard days, Kenji admitted. Moments when anxiety returns, when I feel lost. Sometimes I worry that I'm fooling myself, that this peace is only temporary. The garden requires constant care, said the master. Weeds will grow, storms will come, seasons will change. The difference is that now you know the way back. You know how to rake the sand of your mind, how to observe the storms without being swept away, how to release the leaves that have already fallen. They reached a clearing where the afternoon sun illuminated the valley below. From there, they could see the monastery and, in the distance, the winding road that led back to the city. This will be my last trip here for a while, said Kenji. I feel I found what I came for, though it isn't what I expected. I thought I would learn techniques to control my mind. Instead, I learned to stop trying to control it. That is the paradox of mental peace, smiled the master. It appears when you stop desperately searching for it. It arises when you make space for it. In your life, in your day, in your breath. It is not a destination you reach. It's a companion you cultivate. Will the anxiety return? Kenji asked, though he already knew the answer. Of course, you are human. But the difference is that now you know you are not your anxiety. You know you can observe it, give it space, and return to your center. That knowledge is your greatest tool for emotional balance. Not the absence of difficulties, but the ability to remain centered amid them. Kenji took a deep breath, feeling the crisp mountain air fill his lungs. For the first time in decades, he felt truly present, not rushing to arrive anywhere, not running from anything. The true Zen garden, said Master Tanaka at last, is not the one you see here. It is the one you carry within. And now that you know the way, you can return to it as often as you need, wherever you are. That is the freedom of inner serenity. It doesn't depend on being in the mountains. It's available in every breath, in every present moment. As the sun set over the mountains, Kenji realized that his journey did not end here. It was only beginning. But now he had a map, not to escape life, but to live it fully with all its challenges, from a place of deep peace. The road back home would be the same as always, but he was no longer the same man who had climbed that mountain months before. He carried something invaluable within him. The understanding that mental tranquility is not a luxury reserved for monks in distant monasteries, but a birthright we all possess, patiently waiting for us to remember the way back to our own inner garden. Epilogue. Months later, Kenji created a small corner in his home, a simple space with a meditation cushion and a view of a modest garden. Every morning, before the world awoke with its demands, he devoted 20 minutes simply to being, to breathing, to returning to his center. The problems hadn't disappeared. His work was still demanding, his family relationships still required attention, and life continued to present challenges. But something fundamental had changed. Now he knew how to find peace of mind even amid the chaos. And in those quiet morning moments, he sometimes recalled Master Tanaka's final words. Life is not about controlling the waves, but about learning to sail. And the best sailor is not the one who never gets wet. It's the one who enjoys the journey, storms and all.